Good afternoon, everyone. It's James Carpenter with Country Living. And you heard me say it, country living. I've lived in the country my entire life, and I have no idea what it would be like to live in a town or in a housing complex or something along those lines. It's so much freedom out here in the country, I'll be honest with you. Now, the road that I'm on, when we settled here in this area in the mid-60s, there were 5 houses on the road. Now there's 80-some houses on the road. So the cities, I'm near Columbus, Ohio, and it's grown to the point where within 3 miles of my location right now, there are multi-million-dollar homes being built left and right. And for the life of me, I don't know where that many people have that kind of money, but they must be out there. And the things that I've noticed is the people that move out here, a lot of them, some of them are coming out here because they're kind of tired of the city life, and they move out here to the country. And then you see them on some of these social media sites. They have no clue about country living. To me, it's almost comical, because I'll read some of the stuff they say, and they'll talk about different animals or a hole in the ground. What the heck would make a hole in the ground? Oh, groundhog. Anyhow, we call them city slickers. They come out here and they want to impose rules and regulations on us country people. That's the wrong thing to do. We're out here because we don't like rules and we don't like regulations. We like the freedom that we have to have 6 acres of land and cornfields all the way around us. It don't get any better than that. It's very peaceful. Now, one thing about living in the country, you're on a well and you have a septic system. So those are maintenance items. And, something as simple as a septic system and a leach field that goes along with it. Some of these city slickers have no idea that you don't drive heavy equipment over top of your septic system. You can break down the leach fields. I've actually seen some people cave their tank in their septic tank. But the only thing about all this progress is we're soon going to have city sewer out here, believe it or not. So I'm not sure if I'm in the country anymore, I'll be honest with you. Now, where I'm located on my road, I call it the countryside. Everything east of here is all these homes. Fortunately, they were sold on 5-acre lots, so chances are that you're only going to get what's already here, unless a developer comes in and buys 2 or 3 people out, tears the houses down, and puts a complex in. That's always a possibility. Now, as far as my place goes, the farmers, I know the farmers. I know who they are. I know of them. I don't know them real personally, but I have spoken with them. They own the farm fields around me. And what you have to watch with farmers is the one in particular that has most of the land around me, he's up there in age. So typically what happens is, when an older farmer passes away like that, his kids may or may not want to keep the farm going. And if they decide, hey, we can make a lot more money selling off the land than we can planting crops and buying big tractors and doing all that. So there's always that remote possibility that something like that could happen. But I'm going to be quite honest with you, I don't see that, because this particular farmer has a son that farms right alongside of him. So he's probably going to carry on the family tradition of planting beans and corn. And I'm going to remain somewhat rural. The only thing I'm concerned about is the city slickers that are moving out here. They think that they need a homeowner association or something. Really? You're going to tell me where my dog can take a crap? Or you're going to tell me I got to pick it up? Or different things like that? Of course, I don't have a dog, so don't worry about that. I had one the other day. I'm going to be honest with you here. I obviously, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know I have all that mulch. Well, I had a bunch of it on my garden, and I wanted to burn it off. And by burning it off, I would turn it into ash, and I could till it in, and I'd have richer soil. So it was about a 3-day process burning that mulch. And fortunately for me, the air movement was out of the east, which means it was blowing it to the west, and there's nothing over there but a big field. But if it would have went the other direction, it's headed down towards them 80 homes. So I did have a neighbor, and she's been out here probably since she was born. She's those 5 original houses, they're one of those, and I think this particular lady's parents owned a 62-acre farm to my east. And I was out by the road doing something, and she stopped, and it got real, I'm gonna call it real smart with me. I'd like to use other terminology, but it's probably not appropriate. And I'm the kind of guy that I'm about as calm as they get unless you tick me off. And the words that came out of her mouth they weren't pleasant. It was a high-pitched tone. You could tell that she was expressing her true feelings. And she's probably up there in age. I'm 70. I'd say she's probably at least 80. And when she did that, something inside of me snapped, probably some of that PTSD crap. And I started going off on her. I basically told her she needs to move back to the city, but she never did come from the city. I did drive my tractor down past her house the other day and noticed her setting up on the porch. But when somebody does me that way, unfortunately, I will have nothing to do with her ever again. And I'll be honest with you, in the wintertime we get some snow out here, and the people that's got tractors can move that snow, and I would go up there and clear their driveway out for them. I don't even know if she remembers that, but it really doesn't matter. But my dad always said, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And I could probably continue to be a good neighbor and go up there and help her out, but don't be getting in my face like that. You're on my shit list from this point on. And I know that sounds a little bit hardcore, but it's a fact. That's just the way I roll. Now, when it comes to this country living, 6 acres. All right, let's say you got a place in town. If you're real lucky, you got a 1/4 acre. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, which is not a lot of land, 1/4 acre. I literally yesterday rode a lawnmower for 7.5 hours to mow 6 acres of grass. Now typically it don't take that long, but I messed my back up, and I've been down for almost a month, And during that period, I was unable to ride the mower. Now my younger son, he goes out and he mows, but he doesn't have the experience that I have. When I get done mowing, this place looks like you just got a really nice haircut, similar to this. I can really make a yard look good. And I got all the high weeds, I got everything cut down yesterday. So today I thought I would follow up. And you know, if you live in the city, you have True Green or somebody come in and spray chemicals, and you have people come in and do your mulch, different services like that. Well, us country people, we do all that ourselves. So I've got a pull behind sprayer. It holds 30 gallons. I filled it up with, I'm gonna call it broadleaf weed killer, but it was actually a product called Momentum, I believe is the way it's pronounced. But it does the same thing. It kills weeds in the grass, but it does not kill the grass. So I sprayed 30 gallons of that in different locations where the weeds had gotten completely out of control. And then I turned around and I filled the tank back up, and this time I filled it with Roundup. And the Roundup is used, you got to be careful with Roundup. If you get too much of it down when it rains, it will actually leach through the ground and kill other stuff around it, so you got to be really careful. But in the areas I sprayed it, there was no concern, because one of the areas I sprayed the Roundup is the driveway. See, country living. If you don't keep the weeds out of the driveway, they'll literally just take it over. And your driveway will look like, say the least, crap. So this is about a minimum of about 4 times a year that you have to spray this Roundup to kill the weeds that are in the driveway. And then I also went around with the Roundup. I've got a shipping container that weeds grow up kind of close and around it. I got all under there. I got all the stuff on the edges. I did quite a bit of rounding up, to say the least. So that was 60 gallons. And then I got to looking at my lawnmower after all that mowing yesterday, and got the power washer out and power washed the lawnmower. And then I thought, okay, while it's nice and warmed up, I pulled it in the shop and I drained the oil out of it, and I filled it up with fresh oil. Now it's got that Kohler engine with the hydraulic lifters, and if you don't keep the oil changed, you're going to lose that engine, or the valves are definitely going to mess up on you. So I changed the oil quite frequently, to say the least, just to keep that piece of equipment going. And a lot of the equipment that I have is older stuff that, because I run an auto repair shop, we can maintain this old equipment. And I've gotten a lot of years of service out of that particular Toro Z-Master is what it's called, 60-inch cut. Now the same 6 acres, back when I was young, let's go back to about 1974, I've owned this property for 50 years. I've been in the same location for 50 years. So I'm very settled here. I planted every single tree that's on my property. I've built the buildings. I've just done it all. And I think about that a lot. Our young generation, are they getting those skills passed down? I'm sure in some cases it's happening, but for the most part, my youngest son, not my oldest son, he did follow me around and do all kinds of stuff. My youngest son, he got interested in sports, and he'd stay in the house all the time with his mom watching football games. And I allowed it to happen because I was busy, I had things to do. But I probably could have passed on a bunch of skills that would have helped him out through his lifetime. But I think he's realizing now that he needs to start learning some of this stuff. If not, again, I say you better have a really good paying job if you're going to hire people to do your lawn care and your landscaping and a little bit of home improvement type stuff. It's nice to be able to pay somebody to do that, but it's also nice to be able to do it yourself. You can do it a lot cheaper by doing it yourself. So when we talk about all these neighbors, the house down my driveway on the left, that used to be part of this original farm, but my parents sold it off years ago. But since I've been out here in those 50 years, there's been 4 different families in that house. And what happened yesterday, for sale sign went up in the front yard. So that means you're going to be the 5th family moving in. Now, each time that happens, it concerns me a little bit because, like Forrest Gump said, you never know what you're going to get. And with a little bit of luck, I'll get a good family. You know, if you want to look at the negative side of it, you could get somebody in there and they start collecting junk cars and there's a bunch of trash all over the yard and junk everywhere. It's hard to say, and they could have kids that weren't properly brought up, so they're out doing things they shouldn't be doing. So you always got that possibility. But I'm hoping that I get another good family in there. Over the years, there's been good ones, bad ones, but I'd like to see a good family move in there, somebody that wants to live in the country. They don't need a homeowners association or any of that. They just want freedom. And that's what you get when you live in the country. You move out to the country and you have a lot more freedom. But unfortunately for this part of Ohio, the country where I'm at now, where I started out in the 60s, is totally grown up. It's almost game over. If it wasn't for those farmers around me, it would already be game over. But fortunately for me, I still have farm fields all the way around me. So I'm like a 6-acre island. Actually, I'm on kind of an island because my driveway is what's called right-of-way. So I have a 30-foot right-of-way with a driveway, so I don't even have road frontage. So let's hope and pray that I get good neighbors. The country living, as far as I'm concerned, is the only way to go. I don't know how people can live in housing complexes. The houses are literally 20 feet apart at best. You got all those rules and regulations you have to go by. It's not a workable deal for me. And I'm not telling you I'm antisocial, but I prefer my freedom and I prefer to be solidarity. I mean, if I wanted neighbors, I'd live in the city. But I don't want neighbors. And it's not that I'm antisocial. I just like my freedom. And I've got my freedom right here. And I thank God for that. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.